all you fans of the Second Amendment, GE Capital has cut off lending to gun shops. That'll fix everything. 1-800-507-1047, broadcasting from the steel buckle of the Rust Belt, where herds of free-range Democrats wander the streets in their natural habitat with closed minds and open hands, pooping on the hardworking and preying on the successful. Occasionally a Republican appears out of the underbrush and they eat him. All right, now, Obama sets this red line for Syria, which is, if you use chemical weapons, that's it. We're coming after you. Well, it appears now that they've used chemical weapons. Admittedly, in a limited way, at least according to Chuck Hagel, who, of course, knows everything about everything. But I just find this very interesting because Obama now has painted himself into a corner. Now, by the way, this sample that's being used to say that chemical weapons were used in Syria could have been tainted in order to get us into this mess. But the bottom line is we're on the wrong side again. We can, Obama's not going to do anything. He'll respond, as one person said, he'll respond with diplomacy. Wait, isn't that what we were doing all along here? Yeah, he's going to get the Security Council to do something. Okay, strong letter to follow. So Bashar Assad doesn't care about any of this. And in the meantime, he could be using chemical weapons, and Obama's painted himself into a corner now, because now that they've crossed the red line, Obama's not going to do anything, and all that does is broadcast more weakness about America to the rest of the world. But in a sense, it may be good that he doesn't do anything, because we're on the wrong side. Well, wait a minute. When are you telling me we should be on the side of the butcher, Bashar Assad, who's killed 60, 70,000 of his people? Hey, look, it's the Middle East, folks. There ain't no good guys, there ain't no bad guys. They're all bad. There's only bad and there's worse. Man, and we're about to make the same mistake that we make every single time since the 1970s. The Shah of Iran was a mean man. He was very, very tough on some of his people. Well, who was he being tough on? Well, we found out when Jimmy Carter decided to get rid of the Shah. What did we get? We got the Ayatollah Khomeini coming back from exile in Paris to lead us down the road to the Islamic bomb. That's what we got. Okay, now you tell me, was that better or worse than the Shah? And then, of course, there was, there was Slobodan Milosevic. He was the butcher of the Balkans, right? He was the guy that was way, way too hard on everybody, and we armed the Bosnian Muslims as a response to that, even though Serbia had been our buddies for a long time. Oh, no, but the butcher of the Balkans was just too mean-spirited. And so we got rid of him. What did we get in his place? Well, you don't hear much about what goes on in Bosnia-Herzegovina anymore because Muslims are running rampant over there, burning churches and killing Christians, which is pretty much what they do. And then, let's see. Then there was Muammar Gaddafi. Now, granted, Gaddafi wasn't a good guy. I mean, he was involved in the Pan Am 103 bombing. But at least you could work with him. So we got rid of Gaddafi, that bad guy, and what did we get? We got Al-Qaeda running Libya. And then, of course, there's Egypt. Well, we had to get rid of Mubarak. He was being tough on his people. He was a dictator, and he was limiting people's freedom. And so, Tahrir Square was a big explosion of freedom fighting, right? Wrong. So what happened? Well, we found out who it was he was being tough on. the Muslim Brotherhood. Half of whom, by the way, have posts in the Obama administration. So, and now what are we going to do? We're going to be on the wrong side again. Because as bad as Bashar Assad is, if we allow him to be overthrown, we are going to see who it is that he's fighting against. And he's fighting against Al-Qaeda and jihadis. And they want to set up another Islamic State. This is happening all across the Middle East. It's been going on for the last 30 or 40 years. And we still are not hip to the game. I mean, come on. So who is it that we're going to be arming or have been arming, which might give us a clue as to why Hillary Clinton's been lying through her teeth and why our ambassador at Benghazi is dead along with a bunch of other people and nobody seems to care. That might give you some insight into that ship, that Turkish ship. What was it? The Victory? Was that the name of it? I forget the name of it. Loaded down with arms going to somewhere. Don't know where. So we've gotten ourselves into a position now. We're probably already arming the jihadis. I mean, could we screw this up anymore? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a university heads up. about education. This is about multiculturalism. Well, here's the headline. Let's see. This comes from Ohio.com. Peaceful protest decries the closing of the University of Akron's Office of Multicultural Development. And here we have pictures of young skulls filled with oatmeal, with tape across their mouths as though somebody's actually stopping them from speaking. You know, the only people that stop anybody from speaking are liberals. Liberals are the ones that stop conservatives from speaking. Or at least they try to, hearkening back to the story that you just did in the last
right.
In the last half hour. It's always, folks, free speech zones are not designed by conservatives. They're designed by liberals. But liberals always like to portray themselves as people who are being shut up and being victimized. And, of course, that's what multiculturalism is all about. It's about the parade of victims. Jayla Roberts of Columbus, and a freshman at the University of Akron, holds a sign as she and a group of about 100 other students participate in a demonstration outside Bucktel Hall to try to persuade University of Akron officials to keep the Multicultural Development Office open. When you were in school, well, you didn't go to college. Did you go?
Yes, why?
When you were in school, did you wander around the campus worrying about whether or not the multicultural office was going to be open or not?
Gosh, I didn't have time for that. I had to work, run in, do my classes, and go home, go to work, take care of. You have no idea what I had to do.
Students,
no.
According to this, the students feel, and that's the problem, they don't think, they feel, that the office caters better to the needs of underrepresented students. Would somebody please explain, what is an underrepresented student? What does it mean to be underrepresented? Who decides what the guidelines are for what does that word even mean? That's another one of these liberal words that means nothing. Christian Books enrolled at the University of Akron with such low grades that he was on probation. Well, first of all, how did he get enrolled with those low grades? Maybe the right skin color? Who knows? It was the University of Akron's Office of Multicultural Development that taught him how to study and helped him to adjust. I don't know if I could have made it without them, said Brooks of suburban Columbus. Brooks, a senior geography and geology major, was among the 75 students who took part on Tuesday in the peaceful rally under the postcard blue skies to protest the decision to eliminate the Office of Multicultural Development next fall. Well, how about just opening an office for kids who can't study? I mean, do you really need a multicultural center? Folks, multiculturalism is the wrecking ball of American culture. That's what it is. That's why it was designed. That's why it is preached on campuses everywhere. I don't know if what we're seeing here at the University of Akron is actually a breakout of logical thinking and maybe some conservatism. Because look, what they're going to do in place of the Multicultural Center is they're going to offer the same sorts of help and the same sorts of guidance to all the students there, meaning that it will no longer focus on the unrepresented, but it'll focus on everybody, which means white kids might get help too. Oh no, it was all for us, and now they're getting it too. Up until now, it was all ours. We can't be grievance mongers anymore. Oh, don't worry, you'll figure out a way. Trust me, you'll figure out a way to be aggrieved